Okay, we're gonna get started. What is Vaginismus and a Story by Laura Campbell. Personal introduction. My name is Laura Campbell, and I suffer with primary vaginismus. I have been married for 10.5 years to my best friend in life. He is my rock and my support system. I co-run several online social media support groups for women suffering from this condition. My experiences with the screening and running a group, along with my own personal journey, has brought me to the understanding for the need of information about this condition to be shared. Like many medical conditions, there is an unspoken hush factor with vaginismus. And although most people know the male intimacy problem of erectile dysfunction without any explanation, most people don't know and have never heard of vaginismus. Both conditions affect your sexuality and intimacy, the main difference being who suffers directly from the condition. The hush factor hurts identification, the individual's self-perception, while creating feelings of isolation and depression. The purpose of this presentation is to educate the public on a medical condition that impacts 30% of women at some point in their life, to inform women who are suffering in silence that they are not alone, and that there are other women also suffering and some places to go for support, to request assistance in getting vaginismus added to what is being taught to youth in school, and to let also people know that there is treatment methods as well. What is vaginismus? It is the condition where the muscles in the vaginal area, the entrance, contract to make sex painful or impossible. How do women that have the problem condition describe it? Stinging, burning pain, or like a block wall. And they'll often say tightness. What can it impact? Sexual intercourse with a partner, the ability to use a tampon, or to complete a pap smear or internal checkup at an OB/GYN's office. And all this information is gathered from vaginismus.com. Some more information on vaginismus.com is the causes of vaginismus: sexual abuse and rape, trauma to the vaginal area, lack of education or strict religious upbringing, childbirth/breastfeeding, which is typically more of a secondary vaginismus, and it's due to the estrogen levels, other medical conditions such as endometriosis, age-related, and other unknown factors. In fact, many people don't even know what caused their vaginismus. Symptoms: stinging and burning pain with insertion, unconsummated marriage, ongoing sexual pain after childbirth or abuse, difficulty with inserting tampons or completion of an OB/GYN exam, such as a pap smear, spasms in the other muscles, such as legs, lower back, and often halted breathing when attempting intercourse, avoidance in the bedroom of sex due to fear of pain or failure. For me, I had the stinging and burning, unconsummated marriage, ongoing sexual pain after childbirth, difficulty with inserting, I've had spasms in the muscles, and avoidance in the bedroom. Primary vaginismus or secondary vaginismus. Primary, you've always had the problem or developed it before puberty. Secondary, you had problems only after a traumatic event, procedure, or activity in your life, such as childbirth. How do I know that vaginismus might be my diagnosis? If it's difficult for insertion during sex or impossible, it is most likely due to vaginismus, pain at the entrance, and tightness. If you have ongoing pain after a medical issue or surgery, it's most likely due to vaginismus. This is why it's good to see if there's any other medical issues that might result in painful sex. It could be like endometriosis, but if left untreated, it can become vaginismus. Continuous pain with sexual experiences. The inability to wear a tampon or have a pap smear without any signs of any other medical issues. This would highlight a potential for vaginismus. Avoidance of sex. If your partner seems to avoid or you avoid because of discomfort, then this might be a sign of vaginismus. Post-pregnancy and delivery. After everything has healed up, ongoing pain with intercourse can be a sign of secondary vaginismus. And sadly, many women actually think that sex after childbirth is normal and will suffer silently. All this information is from vaginismus.com. Treatment options. After you've talked to your OB/GYN and ruled out any other causes for the pain with sex and possibly diagnosed, I say possibly because sadly not all OB/GYNs are well versed on this condition. The good news is that the condition is very treatable. Many are able to treat it with dilators. They were online. Many do it on their own. Physical therapy. There are specialists who understand the condition and can help you retrain your pelvic floor muscles. And the use of Botox. This method is used along with dilators to treat the condition. Everyone responds differently to treatment, and there is no magical pill, but there is hope and there are answers. Support groups. Facebook has a variety of online support groups for individuals and couples suffering from vaginismus. There's the Vaginismus Support Group, which is a group for women and their partners. Vaginismus Solutions and Support Group, which is a group for women only. Post-Vaginismus Women, a group for women who have been treated with vaginismus. TTC with vaginismus, for a group for women trying to conceive with this condition. Pregnancy and post for women with a health condition for women with this condition. Vaginismus, a private pain, which is run by a physical therapist and a social worker who have a 2-week program in New York City. And if you want to know more about that, look up the Women's Therapy Center. There are also support groups for partners. Search Facebook and you will find a variety of groups. My story, teenage years to high school. At 13 years of age, I learned that I was different than most girls. I was excited and nervous like other teenagers at the oncoming puberty and pad situation. Getting your period meant that you were becoming a woman, but it was nerve-wracking too. For me, periods became my loss of identifying with most girls my age. My mom introduced a tampon to me when I had my monthly, and it was time to go swimming. I passed out due to the severe pain. At the time, it had never occurred to me or my mom that an OB/GYN should have been looked to for support. I learned to use pads, and I either lied or found an excuse after swimming when my monthly visitor would come to town. I had no name and had no knowledge of what else it would impact. I kind of felt like a freak because I didn't know that what I had wasn't that unusual. And just a commentary, my experience as an admin, the term freak is a mostly common word that you hear people say that they feel about themselves at the early onsets of identification or before they join the group. College years. My first pap smears occurred in college. I ended up setting up an appointment due to severe menstrual cramps. The OB/GYN informed me that they couldn't do the evaluation and come back when I had gotten help. Help? Help for no answers and confusion. My mom then set me up with another OB/GYN who did the evaluation, but I was in a lot of pain. That doctor didn't have any answers and never told me that I could possibly be suffering with vaginismus. I had no idea going into my marriage or honeymoon that there would be issues in the bedroom. Marriage and discovery. I found out on my honeymoon that intercourse was a problem. I spoke to my mother the day after the first or second attempt. I actually drank till I got tipsy and a little more on 9 white Russians close together, and this resulted in an embarrassingly but funny story, but no sex. Post-honeymoon, I communicated to a counselor that I had been seeing due to being sexually abused at a young age. That was the last time I saw this counselor as they laughed at me. It was my mother, a nurse, who found the condition in one of her medical books. She tagged the page and had me read it. After reading, I felt like I'd finally discovered my answer. Every symptom and description was me. I didn't get my answer from an OB/GYN. After being admitted to a support group, I discovered that this is also the case for many that suffer. Dilators, social media, and physical therapy to success. My mom was the one that helped me purchase dilators. I had trouble with self-dilating. It wasn't until I joined a Yahoo support group that got me to start on trying. I struggled for a year and a half and had some of the worst depression of my life. I suffered from pregnancy envy as that dream seemed to be long gone. I would celebrate babies with people close to myself and internally struggled because I couldn't even have sex. It wasn't until I found a TTC with Vag group on Yahoo that I began to believe the dream was not completely gone. It was social media that would help bring me success. Physical therapy. I drive 2 hours each way, twice a month for physical therapy. It was physical therapy that enabled me to use a tampon, have a pap smear with limited pain, have sex, and ultimately allowed me to become pregnant. Post-pregnancy. In my case, I regressed after my son. It took me 4 years to get back to where I was right before becoming pregnant. I then had my daughter. I regressed, but I have learned things about myself and this condition between our two children that I think is going to help me to get over this regression sooner than my first. So I have hope that it won't be another 4 years before intimacy can be normal again. And just a side note, many women are able to get pregnant with this condition without necessarily being able to have sex. Um, there are methods such as it's called the turkey-based or syringe method. What a woman with vaginismus needs. She needs to feel like she can trust her partner in the bedroom. That means if she says something it's hurting or to stop, that her partner will stop. Forcing something will not help the situation. Many members have done that and it has resulted in backtracking. They need to know that if intercourse doesn't happen in the bedroom, that you will be happy with whatever happens in the bedroom. This will help with the avoidance of anything sexual. Support and hugs, and that you're in it with the woman who, as much as they are suffering with it. And they need to feel like the condition is both of yours, not just theirs alone. I don't suffer with the condition, but I want to help. And how can you? Write to your government and ask them to add vaginismus to the curriculum of sex ed that is being taught to students in schools. My experience may not have resulted in a 5-year unconsummated marriage had I known about vaginismus. I may have gone for help and known where to access resources. Many women are often made to feel like freaks because it isn't discussed or well known. They don't realize that there are others that suffer. The thing is, they are not freaks. They are suffering with a medical condition, a treatable medical condition. Educating teenagers will help reduce the number of teenagers and ultimately adults who suffer in silence and don't get the correct support. Recommended websites in terms of and on the internet, the best one is the vaginismus.com site. You can also get dilators there. Pure Romance and Soul Source are some other good places to get dilators. Also, on Facebook, if you look up informational download on vaginismus and vaginismus.com on Facebook, you can find information there as well. And thank you for taking time to listen.